So, Susan, tonight we talked about ethical perspectives in the workplace. In your work, what do you consider to be ethical perspectives?
Well, look, I'm coming from the perspective of an academic researcher, although I have other roles as well. And I try to think of it in terms of researching organisations and what the organisational ethical perspective is, because each of the people who work in the organisation are part of that system and come into the culture, and it's the culture that in many ways guides their behaviour. So, of course, there are organisations where the ethics aren't good and you might get a whistleblower come in. But what we want is the organisation itself, systemically, to have an ethical perspective. So I think we've got to think of how do we help our people take on ethical questions and have the authority and the accountability to grapple with those. When the person is in a role, what should be the perspective of the role? Not just a personal one, but how should this role have a particular ethical perspective? And then we have to think of the system as a whole. How's this organisation supporting that through the culture? How is this organisation helping people? Not through blaming them when they do the wrong thing, but by leading by example, because cultures of blame, we know, don't particularly work well, whereas cultures of leading by good example work in a lot better way. And then we've got to think about what's the context they're making this in, and how can we put the organisation in the right kind of context for understanding it.
Great, thank you very much for that.